What is up, NFL fans? Welcome back to another episode of For Your Viewing Pleasure. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by Wesley Coleman. It's crazy to think that we only have a couple more weeks of these before we go back to the way we see it. Wesley, what's going on?
Man, it's playoff time and it's the end of the season. It's crazy. We're got draft positions. All the mock drafts are fixing to go crazy if they
Oh
haven't
yeah,
already. It's sad that I know it's. I mean, the playoffs are going to take a while, but it's going to go quick.
yeah, it is going to go quick. The whole season always goes by quick, and we find that the dull. It's not never dull. It's never dull in the National Football League. There's always something to talk about, which is why we do our show all year long. But Week 18. Man, there's a lot going on in Week 18, and the schedule might not dictate that, but I want to read this off. This is from Underdog NFL. This is what to watch for in Week 18 as it pertains to playoffs, positioning, stuff like that. So in the NFC, we're going to do this NFC first, AFC second. We'll talk about it in between. The NFC, the 49ers, they can get the number one seed win. The Seahawks can do the same, and that's why they're playing on Saturday night. Panthers can win the division title with a win or a Falcons win. The Buccaneers can get a division title with a win and a Falcons loss. Those two are playing each other on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Just to point that out, make sure you understand. The Bucks can beat the Panthers and still lose the division. They'll both be tied at 8-9. And if the Falcons beat the Saints, all three teams would have an 8-9 record. And the Panthers would win the division.
Yeah, crazy. Bears can get the 2 seed with a win or an Eagles loss, and then you flip that for the Eagles. They can get the 2 seed with a win and a Bears loss. So on the NFC side of things, there's still a lot up for grabs. There's people talking like the Eagles are going to rest players. Don't you want that 2 seed so that if something were to go wrong with, let's say, the 49ers Seahawks, that the NFC Championship game would be in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they've had so much going on. I think that they'd rather be probably healthy if they have any concerns like that. They are a running team, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, we do have some weird resting going on the AFC side too. So it's
That's true.
I'm not sure if anybody cares. There's so much going on right now with not knowing if you're going to play the Seahawks, 49ers, or Rams. And I don't think that any of them look like a good option right now for teams. So it's kind of like, I mean, wherever you end up, you're going to play one of those teams. I mean, I think it's kind of like just let it fall where it is, because what's the difference?
Yeah, unlike the AFC, which is a little bit different, is everyone wants the 5 seed. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about the AFC, what's on the line in Week 18. If the Ravens or Steelers, whoever wins that game on Sunday Night Football, they win the division and they get the 4 seed. It's that simple.
Most importantly, even if the Steelers lose, they still finish the season with a winning record.
That is the most important thing. I mean, hell, come on. What's more important than that? Nothing. The Broncos will get the number 1 seed and the bye with a win or a Patriots loss. The Patriots would get the 1 seed with a win and a Broncos loss. The Jaguars, the division title with a win or a Texans loss. They could get the 1 seed with a win and the Broncos and Patriots lose. The Texans win the division with a win and a Jaguars loss.
So I will say, just that's a lot of games going on. Most of those don't matter because a lot of them, like Jacksonville's playing Tennessee. Now Tennessee's been fighting hard, but if Jacksonville wants to win, they're not losing to Tennessee. The one that's super, I mean, there's 2 like really games of consequence for me. That's obviously the Steelers playing the Ravens because the loser is not in the playoffs.
Right.
And then the other is, I mean, the Chargers playing the Broncos, and the Chargers have announced they are not playing their quarterback, Justin Herbert.
That's weird. I mean, I know why, but that's weird.
I mean, it's still weird. So, I mean, you assume that the Broncos are finishing as the number 1 seed because, I mean, they're not going to lose to, what's his name? Trey Lance? Is that who's going to be playing? I don't know.
Is he the backup?
He beat the Saints in the preseason, and he's a really good running back.
I get it.
At least in the preseason.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of movement. I mean, besides, the Chargers may be falling down, and the Bills moving up, but it's just kind of, I don't know. It's a weird scenario going on there with that.
We'll talk about that as we get through the games for this week. But I do want to throw in also, there are some, we talked about it before we record, there are some incentives for individual players coming up in week 18 to keep your eye on. I want to read a couple of these. Saquon Barkley, the Philadelphia Eagles, just needs 87 total yards for an extra $250,000. Tony Pollard of the Tennessee Titans, if he gets 66 rushing yards, he gets a $250,000 incentive or 2 touchdowns for $200,000. So if he has a good game and scores 2 touchdowns, he could add $450,000 to his salary. Stephon Diggs needs 8 catches for $500K. Dawson Knox of the Bills, a touchdown for $100,000, 7 receiving yards for $100,000. Hunter Henry of the Patriots, 5 catches for $250,000. Rico Dowdle, 7 total yards for $1 million. $1 million of incentives and a touchdown for $250,000. This guy could be pocketing $1.2 million if he has a 7-yard catch or run for a touchdown. That is insane. Keenan Allen of the Chargers, 6 catches for $750,000, 9 receiving yards for $250,000, 2 touchdowns for $250,000. He could go over $1 million if he has himself a game. Who knows who's throwing him passes? Sam Darnold, last one of the Seattle Seahawks, 3 passing touchdowns for $500,000 and 150 passing yards for $500,000. I know it matters to these players. Do you think these players are kind of okay? So let's look at Dawson Knox. He just needs 7 receiving yards. You got to think they're trying to get him those yards, are they not?
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. I think that's it. One, it shows something, to your people that are wanting to sign contracts there, people that are on teams that, I mean, you're trying to do that and you want the people to make the money. But yeah, for sure.
Outside of Tony Pollard, all these teams are vying for the playoffs, so that they're going to be playing hard no matter what. Tony Pollard, obviously, he's just trying to get some money at this point.
The Saints' Cam Jordan in his 15th season, which, I mean, listen, he got kind of played by Dennis Allen last year a lot as a defensive, tackle versus defensive end, and I mean, he actually came out this season a few weeks ago and said that he was in defensive line purgatory last year because he's not a defensive lineman. He's a defensive end. So they changed around his contract to make it more incentive based. And he's already made $1.75 million in incentives. He had a 2-sack game a few weeks ago that was worth $800,000. His sack of Cam Ward last week was worth $600,000. And he's looking at another, with playing time, another sack this week. Could be another 600 up to 1.15 million that he could make in week 18 alone based on his snaps and if he gets another sack.
That is crazy.
Pretty crazy. He's up to 8.5 sacks. He's over 130. Everybody with more than 130 sacks that's eligible for the Hall of Fame is in. So,
wow. All right. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's go to the games. Starts on Saturday. Mentioned this already. 4:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Panthers at Buccaneers. We talked about what's on the line here. This is your NFC South. What do you think of the game?
I mean, it's been an up and down crazy year there was the first third of the season, Baker Mayfield was your presumed MVP with how he was playing with Tampa. And then Tampa's had some injuries, but even with getting healthy from the injuries, they've never gotten back to playing well. Carolina, the Bryce Young stuff's crazy, where he's, got benched for being so bad, got obviously opportunities to play again, has had some up and down years. He did go 0-2 against the New Orleans Saints this year. Big interdivision game for somebody's in and somebody's out, but just winning this game isn't enough necessarily if you're Tampa Bay.
All right, so let's put on your NFC South prediction cap. And how do you think not just this game plays out, but how do you see the division playing out? Because we talked about those scenarios. The Saints do find their way into this equation by proxy. What do you think happens?
I mean, there's a lot going on with this. Kind of in the mix too is what the Saints have done to end the year. There's a real shot this ends with the Saints being the only team in the division with a winning record against the division or having the best record against the division. Since week 10, the Saints are 5-2. Falcons are 4-4. Panthers 3-4. Bucks 1-7.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, this again, Baker Mayfield was, for the first third of the season, was the presumed MVP of the league, was heading that direction. Obviously, it was between him and Dak Prescott, and there's a real good shot that neither one of them is in the playoffs, and both are, finishing the year with okay seasons.
Do you
This one's
think that's
interesting.
what? Let's go back to Baker for a sec. Do you think that's all based on that injury? When he hurt his shoulder, do you think that's when it started to spiral? Or is this team, it seems dysfunctional. When you look at the coach with the comments he's making, like it just seems off. What's your take on that?
I think that there's a lot of it. So one, he started having injuries with running backs. Bucky Irving's the best running back on that team by far. When he got injured, their second and third running backs were doing fine, but they weren't Bucky Irving. And then as he started going through the injuries with receivers, with Godwin and then Evans being hurt, and then he got hurt as both of them were kind of coming back. I think it's just been up and down. Having said that, yes, this team and the way that their coach put them together or set them up was not made for adversity, and they haven't handled the adversity very well. And I'll just versus I'll say the Saints started off terrible, and Kellen Moore had a lot of team bonding, kept that team together. And this is it's the best vibes you'll ever see in the locker room for a team that's going to finish, 6-11 or 7-10 or something like that. It's different, and it may very likely cost Tampa Bay's coach his job, even if they were to win this game. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one. I could see Tampa Bay winning this game. And in this, I'm excited about this Saints-Falcons game. One, it matters, but the Falcons have been playing well. I think this is the best defense that Tyler Shuck's going to play against. This is going to be his second time facing them. The first time facing them, the offense only put up 10 points. And he's on a 4-game win streak right now, looking to end the game on the season on a 5-game win streak and probably secure the offensive rookie of the year if he's to win this game. And it's going to be the best defense he's faced this year. So it's interesting in multiple ways for the division. Probably nobody else in the grand scheme of things cares, because whoever makes the playoffs is going to get murdered in the first round, likely.
All right, let's go to the Saturday night game. This is an 8 p.m. kickoff. Seahawks at 49ers. This is crazy that the week 1 game was Seahawks 49ers. Week 18, they are bookending the entire season. And here you have a game that's so much on the line. Let me ask you this. Were you surprised this game wasn't Sunday night? Or were you always thinking that Steelers-Ravens was going to be Sunday night once that outcome of Cleveland went down?
Yeah, I think it was always Steelers-Ravens. I kind of felt that way from the beginning. Okay. This Seattle-San Francisco game is not going to be 17-13 like they were in week 1. No. That was the score in week 1. Seattle won that game.
The total's 49.5.
It's this is gonna. I think this is gonna be a fun game. Like looking forward to it. It'll be. I mean, this is a playoff game. Just with the consequences being that you're not actually eliminated from the playoffs like you will the following week.
Well, I mean, this reminds me of last year. The week 18 Sunday night game was, remember, Detroit, Minnesota. Winner got the bye. Loser was plummeting down into the standings, having to go on the road. And obviously Detroit won that game. This kind of has the same vibes. How do you see it playing out? It's in Santa Clara, by the way.
Yeah, I think Seattle is going to win. That's where I would lean for sure. And then you're looking at 49ers going to Carolina or Tampa Bay with that. Seattle's playing great right now. I think that they're it's surprising, and it's going to drive a lot of people nuts if Sam Darnold's to go to the NFC Championship game or go to the Super Bowl. What they're doing right now is pretty insane.
Well, we could probably change the podcast, or at least certain segments, to Wesley was right. You remind me of it all the time when you send me texts like, oh, if someone would have just predicted this. It's like, okay, I get it. We could also say that Jeff was wrong. In the offseason, when they traded Geno Smith, and they signed Sam Darnold, and they trade away DK Metcalf, I was the one, and maybe you agreed with me, I can't remember. I said, what in the hell are the Seahawks doing? This makes no sense what they're doing. Come to find out, they knew what they were doing, and they've done a great job. It's a good job. I mean, I think Seattle wins this game because I still don't believe in the 49ers. I don't know what it is. It's just, the visual doesn't match. They're winning. They're playing good football, but there's something off about that team. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so, I mean, we had the Seattle conversation. I was on Seattle last year that they have great running backs and they were throwing the ball too much and not leaning into that. But then when they signed Sam Darnold, I think what my point is one, he's a better passer than Geno Smith. Also, Clint Kubiak is a very good offensive coordinator, and Sam Darnold is as good, better quarterback than Derek Carr. And when that Saints team was healthy last year through 2 seasons, they were on pace to score more points than any. They had the third most points ever through 2 games. Now, again, that's only 2 games, but you don't start the season that way ever. I really liked this Sam Darnold, Clint Kubiak, and then the running game that Seattle had. Now, I didn't think that Jackson Smith and Jigba was going to become the top 3 wide receiver in the entire league.
Yeah.
I thought he was good, but what he's done is crazy. I thought that them trading DK was crazy. Obviously, that worked out and was a good deal for them and what they've got. I've liked this Seattle team, and the defense. I don't know. They're not great. They've given up some high scoring games, but they do have some good plays and some good moments. And I San Francisco's tough for me because I'm not the Brock Purdy guy. He looked incredible last week, and I hate admitting it because I think he's overpaid, and he's got to be consistent with it to get that paid that money. But last week, that guy looked like a top quarterback in the NFL and looked really good. And he did it without George Kittle, who will be playing in this game.
What's crazy is that Seattle is actually a road favorite in this game. San Francisco's home dog. Seattle's giving just 1.5, but still, that tells you something. You think Seattle wins, yes?
I do think Seattle wins. But, I mean, anything can happen. Obviously, the 49ers being the number 1 overall seed and having a week 1 bye would be bonkers.
Yeah. All right, let's transition to Sunday Night Football. The final game of the 2025 regular season will be Pittsburgh hosting the Baltimore Ravens. And we all know how we got here. The Steelers had one of 2 ways of getting into the playoffs, winning the division. Neither of those things happened last week. The Ravens beat the Packers in Lambeau. The Steelers can't beat the Browns in Cleveland. And so now you have, for all the marbles, the number 4 seed, a playoff spot, and the other team is going home, season over. The Steelers are getting 3.5 points at home in this game. We don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to be back. We don't know if TJ Watt's going to be on the field. We do know DK Metcalf isn't going to be there, and that's a big issue for the Steelers offense. What do you think about this game?
There's people out there speculating, saying that even if Lamar Jackson could play, should he be allowed to play? Which I watched some of the game last week, and I can understand that point, and that's not going to happen. It's crazy to say it out loud, thinking that would happen. The Steelers do play well against Lamar Jackson. They do a good job of keeping him in the pocket and trying to make him more of a pocket passer.
Right.
Whether whoever's playing, Derrick Henry is going to run the ball a whole lot this week. He just had a career high of rushes last week. I think of 32 carries. I think it was his career high, something like that. And it's not because of the Metcalf stuff. Just Aaron Rodgers looks like he's older, and playing this full season, he has looked older and slower and weaker a little bit over these last few weeks. I'm not a Baltimore Ravens fan, but with Derrick Henry on there, I'm not sure how I see Pittsburgh's route to victory that really makes sense, unless it's just like a really crazy 9-6 low scoring game with something just weird like that in it. I just can't see that. I just think that Derrick Henry is going to be the best player in this game. And if Baltimore's smart, they're just going to exploit that.
Well, here's the people that are saying, should Lamar play, even if he's deemed healthy enough to play? Now, John Harbaugh's already said if he's healthy enough to play, he's going to play.
For sure.
As he should say that as the head coach. But I am going to go on record, and I've said this on other podcasts as well. And my take is this: if as a Steeler fan, I want Lamar Jackson to play, because if you've seen the games where Lamar Jackson is playing compared to when Tyler Huntley plays, you know what the difference is. When Tyler Huntley plays, they lean on the run.
They hand the ball to Derrick Henry.
Yes. And when Lamar's in there, it's almost like they feel like, well, we're paying this guy a lot of money. I don't think we should just hand it off over and over again. Let's mix in a bunch of throws. And that's when things go south. That's when you have those times in games where the Baltimore Ravens don't get Derrick Henry a touch for an entire quarter. So as a Steelers fan, hey, get Lamar out there. They play well against Lamar. They've faced him a ton. It's not going to be breaking anything new for them in terms of how to defend it. but I think it's going to decrease the workload for Derrick Henry, which could equate to success for Pittsburgh.
Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards last year. And for me, I could not support Lamar Jackson being the NFL MVP over Josh Allen when I didn't think he was the best player on his team, on his offense. I didn't think he's the best player behind the center. And so I couldn't do it. And so this year, it's just been assumed Derrick Henry's, listen, the wear and tear it takes to have a 2,000-yard season is like recovering from a big surgery or something like that. Like maybe he just hasn't been the same guy. Maybe he's need a rest. Maybe he's banged up and, they don't talk about it. And so it's been assumed by me and a lot of people that just Derrick Henry's dealing with some stuff. If this whole thing, because in week 17, he was the best running back in the league for the year.
Yeah.
If this whole thing was about ego and Lamar Jackson needing to throw the ball and Lamar Jackson needing to show that maybe he was the MVP and Lamar Jackson showing that maybe he needed to throw the ball more, and that's insane. And Lamar Jackson was hurt for a lot of the season, and for them not to have rerouted this when Derrick Henry's clearly looks as healthy as you can be at the end of the season, I'm just be baffled by the decisions that Baltimore has made, and what this could have looked like and what it does look like.
It's a situation that is definitely probably stemming into these discussions that are now starting to bubble up, which is, could the Ravens trade Lamar Jackson in the offseason? There's already talk that the Miami Dolphins might be interested because he's from Florida and he might want to return to South Beach. And we know that they're not going to go into next season with Tua. I don't know if that's even on the table. No Baltimore Ravens personnel would even talk about that. But still, it does make you wonder, underlying issues here. Are there some of those with Baltimore? I do think the Steelers have a better defense than Baltimore, though. The question will be, can they stop Derrick Henry? And it's going to have to be early. If the one thing, and I watch a lot of Ravens football as a Steeler fan because I care about the division, they will get away from the ground game if it's stopped early in the game. But if you saw it in Green Bay, once they start catching some steam, and Derrick Henry ran right down the Packers' throats on the first drive when they took the football, they are like, let's go. This ball is moving. We're not going to stop it. I think the Steelers, my question isn't can the defense stand up, it's can the offense score points. This Steelers offense looks absolutely anemic without DK Metcalf and someone who's an actual threat to go deep. Go back to the last time they played in Baltimore. The Steelers did not take the opening kickoff. They got their first play from scrimmage, was a deep ball. I think it was a 52-yard connection from Rodgers to Metcalf, and it changed everything. The Ravens had to respect the deep ball. They don't have that threat on the team. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, no. Adam Thielen, no. What are we talking about? Those are not weapons.
Yep.
The Steelers are going to do the death by a million cuts offense. Okay, we're Pat Freiermuth for 3. Jonnu Smith for 4. They should be leaning on the running game, which averaged over 5 yards last week, and they didn't run it enough against Cleveland. But still, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Last time these two teams played, yes, Pittsburgh won 27-22, and that's ultimately what you're going for. But where I think this is colder weather, this is worse weather for this game, the last time they played, Pittsburgh as a team rushed the ball 17 times for 34 yards.
Yep.
Baltimore rushed the ball 40 times for 217 yards.
Yeah.
If that, I don't care. I know that Pittsburgh won last time, and again, there was some deep balls to DK. I think he had 148 yards receiving.
Yeah.
But if that rushing gets repeated, there's no route for Pittsburgh to win. And then what I believe this weather will be, with a little bit windier, a little bit colder, all that kind of stuff. You're not going to have the kicking game. You're not going to have the punting game that's going to be as strong. If it comes down to that, it's tough.
The only difference for the Steelers is Derek Hartman, the rookie first-round pick, when he is in the lineup compared to when he's not, and he was not in the lineup in Baltimore last time. Yep. It is night and day difference, almost 100 yards difference when Hartman plays compared to when he doesn't on average. That's a big difference for a rookie. But you at this stage, Wesley, you can't overlook that. It's not like
Watt ever been the best defensive lineman on his own team. I mean, he's not even this year. Derek Hartman's better than him.
Well, they play a different position, but I understand what you're saying. The front seven. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to take the Steelers getting the points here. It's going to be a close game. They're getting 3.5 at home. If they lose, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't know. What's your final take here?
Yeah, it's. I think I'll lean on that. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Derrick Henry is the best player in the game, and I don't think that second behind him is even that close. And so I just think that he'll end up, the last time they played, he had 25 carries for 94 yards, but still the team averaged 5 yards a carry. I think he's going to carry the ball 30 times, if not more. And just I don't see the route for Pittsburgh being able to shut him up for the entire game or keep him under 4 or 5 yards of carry.
It would take turnovers. It would take the Steelers scoring up points.
Lamar Jackson threw an interception last time they played.
Yeah, and that was to James Pierre, his cousin, actually. But anyways, it's one of those things where the Steelers would have to get up by 2 scores, and then the Ravens feel like, okay, we can't just run our way back. We got to throw it to get back into it, and that's where things could turn. So we'll see. All right, so we talked about the primetime games, which are the 3 big games of the week. We're not going to necessarily run through all of these categories that we normally do. Are there any other games that you feel are worth watching in Week 18?
Well, we talked about New Orleans, Atlanta. That's going to likely have some impact on what's going on with who makes the playoffs and who is eliminated from the playoffs.
In Atlanta,
I still think there's, for me, some intrigue with Cleveland and Cincinnati. Myles Garrett.
True. Sack record.
Trying to set the sack record. Cleveland coming off a victory against the potential playoff team in the Steelers. Big win for them. And then I think Cincinnati needs any kind of good stuff going on heading into their offseason, where I think they've got to make some. I don't think Joe Burrow's at all ever going to act like he's trying to force his way out of there. But if they could end the season on a 3-game win streak, again, Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns, it doesn't really matter. A 3-game win streak would be huge for them. They've put up 45 and 37 in their last 2 games. And I think that they need to put up somewhere like that around 40 just for against a good Cleveland defense. They need to go into next year with some sort of positivity. What about you? Any games that kind of stick out that you're like, I am going to turn this one on? You have to watch something at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And
I mean, this slate is pretty atrocious because every time you see a game, you're like, oh, we got Lions and Bears. The Lions are out of it. Yeah, they might want to try and spoil the Bears' chances at, a higher seed. Sure, not really. So Chargers, Broncos, Justin Herbert's not going to play. Packers, Vikings. The Vikings are done, and they're just playing for kind of morale and to see what J.J. McCarthy can do at this stage of the game. There's just a lot of duds. The Colts and Texans, no, the Colts are done. The Texans have locked up a playoff berth, and the Colts are going to Riley Leonard.
What about Detroit, Chicago? I mean, Detroit's out of the playoffs, but they are going to try to hurt Chicago's feelings.
Yeah, they're going to play hard. Dan Campbell's going to have his team motivated. But again, if I'm looking for a game with juice, I don't see it outside of the 3 games that we've already talked about. I mean, yeah, you brought up the Saints, and that does have some impact on the playoff seedings. This is why all the conspiracy theories say that hey, the NFL needed games that mattered a lot in Week 18, because if you looked at this slate prior to Week 17, you would have said there's not even 3 games that matter that much if the Steelers would have gotten in and punched their ticket.
A couple of things I'll say. One, Chicago, if they beat Detroit, they will finish 3-3. And I'll just say, you and I talked about it before the season started. I predicted that Chicago was going to finish the season with a 500 record in the NFC North at 3-3, and that they were going to be first or second place in the division. And I don't know how much I believed it, and I didn't place any money on it, but I feel really good about possibly being correct about that. Other thing, I don't recall this season or very often ever having a line over under of 36.5 points, and your Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders is a 36.5 over under. That's low. That's I mean, typically when they bounce below 40 is really low, and you'll see some 39.5, 38.5, 36.5 is.
There are some low totals this week.
There's two at 37.5, but
Jets Bills is 38.5. You've got Chiefs Raiders at 36, Chargers Broncos 37.5, Packers Vikings 37.5, 39.5 Colts Texans. I'm shocked the Ravens Steelers is 41.5. If I'm being honest, I'm shocked. Oh, yeah. I honest to God, I'm shocked. So I don't know, man. This is, again, I know what the NFL does. They want Week 18 to be all division. They want it to matter. if the Steelers beat the Browns in Cleveland, this is a god awful slate of games. God awful.
Are there any games here that you're trying to learn anything about the playoff team? Like is Houston just putting it on the Colts, which it doesn't look like Phillip Rivers is going to play? I guess, are they going to play Riley Leonard just to see what he got?
Riley Leonard. Yeah, Riley Leonard.
I mean, like, are you looking at Houston just like, I want to see that defense give up 0 points? Just, they're ramping up going in. Jacksonville, you want to see them. Tennessee's been playing well and hard, coming off the loss of the Saints. Then is there anything that you're looking at this going, okay, here's what I want to see from this playoff team? The Packers playing the Vikings. The Vikings have a top 3 defense. I mean, the Packers have not been good lately or consistent. You look, and if you see something from the Packers, like, okay, here's
if any of these playoff teams want to enter the postseason on a high note, then you duplicate what the Patriots did last week. Like, Drake May comes out, throws 4 touchdowns in the first half, and you would be like, all right, we've seen enough. We feel great. Take a seat. Let's get the subs out there and let's see what we can do. I don't know. Like, it's just weird. I'll watch football because I love football, and it's the last week where everyone is going to be playing. But yeah, there's always a caveat. The Packers, Vikings, like you mentioned, is Jordan Love even going to play? Did he clear the concussion protocol yet? If he did, do you have to play him in this game? I don't think so.
Should he play? Anyway,
should he play?
They're the 7th team. They're gonna be the 7th seed. Like it probably doesn't make any sense.
I find more intriguing not the playoff teams, but potential coaches being fired. So you see, like, the Browns and Bengals. You brought up the Cincinnati aspect. Zach Taylor, I think, is coaching for his job after Joe Burrow's comments. Kevin Stefanski with Cleveland might be in the same boat. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. You talk about other coaches, like the Colts. I mean, that's out of curiosity. Like, is Shane Steichen safe after the way they've handled things? I don't know. Raheem Morris in Atlanta, if they lose that game to the Saints and the Saints go into the offseason on that winning streak that you mentioned earlier, is he safe or is he gone? The Cardinals, I think, are going to be moving on regardless. I find more intrigue with that, don't you?
Yeah, I do like that. I'm also thinking about, I mean, like we talked about the Cincinnati. Like, Cincinnati needs to go on a high note, but they also need to, like, clearly come up with, is Zach Taylor their coach?
Right.
And if they haven't figured it out yet, do they need a better offensive line and do they need a better defense? And I don't know. I mean, I think they've known that for a few years, but I think you're showing that you're building towards something, or who's going to get fired and who's going to get an extension, and all those kind of things.
Well, let's okay. Aaron Glenn is a possible being fired. That's already been talked about. Mike McDaniel down in Miami could be fired. That's been talked about. Who's the Cardinals coach? His name escapes me right now.
It's the guy after Cliff Kingsbury.
You don't even know.
He's from Philadelphia.
But yeah. Okay, so that's another one. Raheem Morris. You can talk about Zach Taylor. Stefanski is 6. Maybe Shane Steichen is 7, even though they were playing good football. That's 7 possible coaches that could be fired. I think there's a good chance that 5 of them are gone. And that's not to mention the coaches that are going to be new next year. Mainly, you talk about, like, the Tennessee Titans have already cut ties with their coach. I don't know. It's going to be wild. Oh, Pete Carroll. Forgot about Pete Carroll. There's 8. So I don't know. That's going to be a talking point on Black Monday next week. We'll have to talk about
I bet less than half of those get fired.
So out of 8, you think less than 4?
Yeah. 4 is kind of my max.
Okay. I was going to say, if the line was 4.5, I would probably take the under. I'm thinking 4. If it's 3.5, I'm taking the over for sure. All right. Are you ready for dud of the week? This is tough.
It's got to be Kansas City, Vegas, right?
Well, you're the one that always said Vegas always has people show up because
it's not.
It's big. Not. I didn't think so. All right. I'm going to say Browns Bengals is one.
Browns Bengals is a $43 ticket. That is the second lowest ticket price.
That's the second lowest?
Yep.
That's one of the top 3?
Yeah.
At $40, that's insanity. I was thinking,
this week, like, prices are up. Oh no, sorry, that is number 3. Number 3 is at $43. There's only 2 cheaper. There's nothing under $30 for your lowest price ticket.
That's crazy. Cowboys Giants.
That is your lowest price ticket. You can get a $30 ticket. I'm guess that's mixed with which I'm just going to say shocks me, because regardless of what's going on, you got Jackson Dart, who they think is the best rookie quarterback in football, and you're playing a hated rival in the Cowboys. And I know it's going to be cold, but that's part of living in New York. Like, I'm shocked that that's the lowest price ticket.
And I'm going to go
There's one more in between those.
Saints Falcons.
Nope.
Really?
That one, you can't get in there for less than $50, which surprises me because a third of the seats are going to be empty.
That's what you said. You said Atlanta doesn't really pull for their team unless they're winning. So that's why I went with that one. So what's the other one?
The other one is Arizona at Los Angeles Rams, because it's Los Angeles. So nobody cares. You can get a $37 ticket for the Rams.
Man.
Coming off that loss to the Falcons, that's pretty bad. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but the Rams now have gone East Coast to Carolina and Atlanta and lost, and they are now going to have to go to either Carolina or Tampa Bay, possibly, if they end up the 5 seed. It could be crazy.
That's a good point.
Seattle beats the 49ers and the Rams win, the Rams boost up to the 5 seed, and then they're going to either Carolina or Tampa Bay on the East Coast, where they have not played well.
That's a great point. I never would have thought to connect those dots. So good on you there.
You're welcome.
All right, Wesley, this has been a good show. Next week, it's hard to believe we're going to be previewing the wild card games, but we'll talk about all that. Let us know what's coming up on the Dome Patrol podcast, as well as on social media.
Well, we've got all of your potential offensive rookie of the year coverage. Looking at people who are not going to be drafted in the top 10, because it's right now the Saints did this like perfect thing last week of beating the Titans on a 4-game win streak, but still staying at potential of 8th in the draft, which is great. We really would like Kansas City and the Bengals to win this week. There's a chance the Saints could finish the season on a 5-game win streak and stay at 8th, which would be crazy.
That would be good for you guys. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it'd be good. But lots of Tyler Shuck coverage. Talk about just being the darling of the NFL right now on a losing team. Like, he's getting so much hype. Is he
the guy?
You can't say he's not. I mean, he just had 2 back-to-back 300-yard passing games with no turnovers, and he's the 3rd rookie quarterback to do that in the Super Bowl era. The other 2 little guys named Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow that you may have heard of. What he's doing as a rookie is not something that's done. And I don't care about the competition he's playing against. He hasn't played necessarily against the best teams, but he's beaten Tampa Bay and Carolina twice. What he's doing is not something that you're supposed to do as a rookie.
It's that's the best case scenario for you guys in a quarterback class in 2026, which everyone is staying in college. So you give him another year, you get other needs addressed, and you stay in the top 10 or around there. That's pretty good. So
yeah, our fear going into this is that our general manager Mickey Loomis is going to get too excited about this, be like, we could win the NFC South, let's go all in, when we have so many pieces we need. We want to probably win the NFC South in 2026 without going all in. We want 2027's our year. We need you don't need to overdo it just to win the NFC South to get blown out in the first round of the playoffs, like it's probably about to happen. But you can find us on all of your streaming platforms at Dome Patrol Podcast. Find us on X at Dome Patrol PCast. You can find me at WhoDatWesley13. I'll talk to you about LSU and Dallas Mavericks. Well, Cooper Flag, not the Dallas Mavericks. Right. And I'll talk to you about golf and barbecue and all that kind of stuff. Jeff, where can we find you and your Steelers coverage and possibly moratorium on this season coming up?
Well, it could also be a celebration, so let's keep that as an option. But you can go to Steel Curtain Network and steelcurtainnetwork.com. Wherever you get your podcast, search Steel Curtain Network. You'll find us. You can find me on social media celebrating Tiger Woods' birthday yesterday. Turned 50 at J Hartman, HARTMAN_PIT. Champions Tour, baby. Here we go. Get the.
Are you going to challenge him?
No. Maybe after a ruptured Achilles, but not unless he probably still beat me. So, all right, Wesley, it's been a good show, man. Enjoy the new year, and we'll talk next week. Take it easy.
Thank you, sir.